Okay, BP3 here. First little video. I am going to take a solo flight. Need to get some fuel, practice some slow flight, maybe stop at Groton and do some touch and goes. But first we're going to get in here, fire this baby up, and yeah, maybe a couple takeoff and landings here at good speed just to get warmed up. All right, thanks for joining me. BP3TV. Ah, it's a tight little plane I got here. But it's bigger than the ultralight. Make sure everything's closed. That this door is all set. First goes the seat. The seat needs to be in a position where the controls are accessible and where it has to be closed right there. Next, the seat belt goes on after the seat's been adjusted. It's important to make sure, I'm right here. It's important to make sure that these seats are locked in. I have a little lip, makes it a little bit safer, but they can have a problem with the tracks. And it's important that the seat belt's tight because we don't have much head space here. We do not want to hit our head. All right, my little horn's all set. The cheat sheet is all set. Just starting off here at good speed. Okay, pencils are all set. I have my information here. Make sure my glasses are clean. The idea is that everything is done before I start the engine and have to take off, because there's a lot of things to there's a lot of stuff to worry about. Concentrate. I have 5 gallons of fuel in my left tank, and I have 7 gallons in my right tank, so about half full right now. A total of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we hold 22.5 useful. So yeah, hey, right around a little tiny bit over half tank. All right. Next. Oh, you know what? I'll check the weather in the air for Groton or Chester, depending on what I decide to do. First, going to go out over the Long Island Sound and do a little slow flight. Looking at the sock right here, I'm going to use runway 32. We have barely any wind, but 32 is a prevailing wind. Weight and balance all set. Flight plan is all set. I have all my documents on. The fuel is on. The control lock is off. I've checked out my fuel quantity, just going through everything that I did before. The walk around the plane was fine. My tie downs are out of the way. Passenger brief. Well, I'm only briefing myself, but the acronym I go by is safety. Seat belts, make sure that the seat belt's locked and the seats are in their tracks and locked into their tracks into position that's most comfortable for operation of the aircraft. Pedals. A is air. I could put the heat on, and I will put the heat on because it's freezing right now. I have cabin air and cabin heat down here on the right underneath the co-pilot's yoke, and I also have air available on both sides. And it's pretty cold out there. It's just a little bit of below, it's like a 38 degrees Celsius. Oh, I know, 38 Fahrenheit, and about 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. That's why it's cold inside. Anyway, that's the air. Should you need to control anything, the cabin heat also defrosts the window. F is for fire. If I do have a fire while I'm cranking it, I will continue to crank it to see if the fire goes out. If it does go out, I'll let it run for a few seconds and then I'll stop. If it does not go out, I will put the mixture to lean and the throttle to full. The idea is that you'll suck in and turn off the gas, main gas down here in the middle. But the idea is to suck the flames into the engine, hoping that the fire goes out. If it does go out, turn everything off, get out and inspect it. If it does not go out, we'll shut the throttle to full off. The mixture will already be, but we'll verify that it is leaned out as much as possible. So both these guys come back out, and we'll verify that the fuel is off. The fuel is on currently right now, and there's 2 fire extinguishers located right in front of me inside the unlocked red door behind that garage. I don't know if you guys can see it. So let's fire. E is exit. So we have doors on both sides. They're operated by these little latches. The passenger side does have a lock on it, and it's a good idea to lock it so it doesn't pop open on a regular passenger. But if pilots are in the aircraft, or people that are astute to flying in small general aviation aircraft, keep the door unlocked, because I guess what we don't really want is it to be jammed up in case of emergency and we do need to come out. That being said, there is one thing that I have to do, or we would have to do if there was somebody with me in an event of an emergency. Once we finally decided that we're going to make an off airport landing and we've killed everything and we're in the last bit of our emergency landing, we'll pop the door open, so that way in case the airframe does kink up or bend and jam the door, it would be not good if we couldn't get out. So the door, as much as it sounds kind of crazy, being a car kind of person, the door would be open when we landed on an off airport landing. And then well, that's extended on the fire. T, no talking on takeoff and taxi. If there's 2 pilots and we want to alert somebody of something that's a safety thing, we can go ahead and interrupt. But in general, especially with non-pilot passengers, no talking during taxi, takeoff, and landing. These are very important parts of the flight. I'm right here. These are very important parts of the flight that involve concentration. Have to listen to the radio, make calls, listen to the engine, read the gauges. If there is somebody with me, I may give you some duties to do, but only in an emergency situation, qualified people shall we interrupt during taxi, takeoff, and landing. And why of the acronym safety are there any questions? I don't have any questions for myself other than when's it going to get warm in here. Make sure all my circuit breakers are in. I don't have circuit breakers, but I have fuses. But what I do at that point is just check everything. I want everything off except for my beacon light. When I start it, I want the beacon light to go on so that everybody can see the flashing red light, so they know that I'm about to operate the aircraft, so they can stay clear and just be aware. I don't want anything else on, and I'm going to verify that in a minute, because we don't want to have any electrical surges, right? So we want all of my little booster for my noise canceling is off, my radio control box down here is off, my transponder is off, and my communications and navigation is off, and my GPS is off. That way no electrical surges will go back into anything and send it for a loop, short something out. Check my pedals right now just to make sure I have brake pressure, so they don't have any holes in the line or that I've lost any fluid. I'm going to check them again once I start the engine and I move a little bit, but for right now, just want to make sure it has pressure. Alright, so start the engine, seatbelt is on, and track is locked, avionics, I can verify again are off, 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 and off, and off. Carb heat is off. Mixture is full rich. Throttle is slight, just to my finger. Bends just a little bit, right about there. Feet on the brakes. Now it is very cold right now, so we're going to prime it 4 times. We've got right here. Make sure you pull the primer, not the parking brake. And nice and slow, so it sucks up the fuel 4 times when it's cold. 1, 2, 3. Don't want to break my finger or the primer. Everything is cold. Hope the attitude indicator works in the cold weather. And 4. I keep checking the sock over there just to make sure that the runway 32 is the active runway. In a non-towered airport, it's all up to the pilot in command to decide what we're going to do. Okay, so anyway, primer is all set. Feet are on the brakes. Keys going to the ignition. Open the window. Clear prop! Clear prop to let anybody know that we're going to start. Clear right, clear left, clear in front, and clear behind. Key to both. Master switch on.